Michael, it's been about a little over a year since the last time you competed. And I wanted to ask you, did this pursuit start even before that? Or was this something that I guess you were able to maximize the time that you weren't fighting to, again, add to what you always wanted to do? And that's have businesses across different platforms.
Yeah, I mean, I think I was actually introduced to hiatus a little bit before that last training camp. So last late
Oh, okay.
summer, September-ish or something like that. And then obviously everything moved forward, going with obviously the rest is history, me actually meeting the founder and then making an investment in the company. And this has been a pursuit that's been happening over probably about the last year. Obviously we just made the announcement in the last 24 hours, but this to me feels like forever, an announcement we've been trying to make forever. But yeah, we're, as far as hiatus goes, man, it's been about a year and it's been awesome. And we've built out a team and a strategy, and our growth path actually includes Nevada. So I'm heading out to Nevada for UFC 296, I believe. What is that? The one in a couple weeks. And so we're going to be sipping some hiatus out there, visiting a couple of accounts because we're going to be expanded to Nevada soon. So we'll have to toast some good hiatus tequila with you guys.
Yeah, I think I know some guys from Nevada that might be
Yeah.
interested in tequila.
Yeah, I got you guys.
Hey, Michael, so having a business, you're right. This is something that like from day one has always been on your mind. You've always talked about that. When we interview you about mixed martial arts, we always talk a little business as well. So it is something that I know you've been talking about. But once fighting resumes, once you get your fight, your date, everything's good to go, how much of it gets put, like, no pun intended, on the shelf, or how much of it is day to day? Like what role does it play in your life at that point?
Yeah, a lot of it will be being put on the shelf all around the country while I'm training. But I mean, see, the good thing in the way that I've always looked at it is I've been a part of an individual sport, right? I was the 157 pounder at Mizzou. I was the 152 pounder at Northwest High School. I'm an individual fighter at all the gyms that I train at. But without the team, without the training partners training with you side by side, without the coaches teaching you what you need to know, the game plan and the striking, the wrestling, the grappling, all the different aspects of it, without the people, there is no success, right? So yeah, I'm not the head of sales, and I'm not the head of marketing, and I'm not the head of I'm not the CEO, and I'm not in all these roles where 24/7 I'm going to have to do all these business decisions. I know my role, and my role is to help with the ideas, to help grow ideas that will help the forward trajectory of the company in coinciding with and in conjunction with the great team that Hiatus has. So right now, I'm not training for a fight, so I have a lot of extra time. When I go into training camp, Monica, our CMO, knows she can't be saying, hey, we need you to do 10 interviews in one day. I'm like, hey, I'm training, right? So you can it ebbs and flows, but everything ebbs and flows when it comes to business, when it comes to relationships, when it comes to life, training, everything. So I've gotten pretty good at kind of compartmentalizing it all, and I can work on it when I can work on it, and I can be fully and solely focused on training when I need to be training, focused on my family when I need to be focused on my family. And I do a pretty decent job of juggling it all. And like I said, it all goes back to the people. The reason I love Hiatus isn't just because of the beautiful bottle and the actual tequila inside of it, but the people and the mission behind it. And you can't grow without people, and we got some great people. So we let them do their work, operate within their gifts, and I'll operate within mine.
I'm 54 going on 14. So
Yeah.
Bear with me here. All right. Tell me if this is the craziest thing you've ever heard or what. Scratch your walkout song and come out to da 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 da, and the whole crowd just goes tequila. Come on, Michael.
Hey, man, that's a freaking good idea. Hey, luckily our CMO should be on the call right now. She's probably going to take.
She's writing it down. She's already writing it down on her pen.
Monica's the mastermind behind.
That's brilliant.
Yes, Monica is the mastermind behind all of our marketing stuff too. That's a freaking pretty good idea. We'll at least do some cool social content or something with that song. But that's genius. I like that.
All right. Now, of course, we miss you fighting in the sport, man. You're the type of guy that we love to cover, guy or gal, because you define the word fight. When you get in there, it's a freaking fight. And of course, it's been a while, and I know that this is tied up with the return of your opponent or whatever, but can you kind of give us, I guess, an idea? Because we just want to see you fight, Michael. We've seen you fight even before Michael Chandler blew up, right? And so we've been on this ride. We heard UFC 300 in April, and then the coach of the opponent came out and said maybe International Fight Week. What can you update us? When do you and the Irishman throw down?
Man, nobody wants a fight announcement more than me. But as of right now, I've just been told it's definitely happening the first half of next year. Obviously, speculation would say that January, February, March, they're all booked. They're ready to announce this big UFC 300 card. I'm sure today was Tuesday. They were a couple miles away from you guys at the UFC headquarters talking about all the different matchups and putting together probably some really cool super fights and whatnot. So when you have a card such as UFC 300, which people have rumored us to be on, I have not been told UFC 300, but I sure would not say no, because that's going to be a nice big card. That I would prefer that. That would be awesome. But you guys know me, I'm always in the gym. I'm training. At this point, I've already waited a year. So what's waiting another couple months? Each month that goes by, I'm kind of like, whatever, man, I'm still on hiatus, so it's kind of fitting, right? Hiatus. I've been on this hiatus for a year, and, there's been a lot of good things that have come from this hiatus, and, spending time with my family and finding out exactly who I am outside of just the fight game and being a fighter. But I got a hat tip to Connor and Coach Kavanaugh. You were alluding to Coach Kavanaugh talking about July and all this other stuff, man. These guys are master manipulators of the storyline. They love to say little things that are true or are not true, or they're so blatantly obvious that they sound like they're not true, dropping little breadcrumbs, making you guys, the media, myself, the opponent, and everybody else in the entire world on pins and needles wondering what the real information is. These guys are very, very good at the art of mental warfare and saying whatever they need to, whether it be calling out other fighters, talking about the trilogy with Nate Diaz, pushing it back to July, then talking about fighting in December, then talking about the UFC's keeping me from my livelihood, all these different things that just may or may not be true. So I'm staying the course. I'm focused on becoming the best version of myself for when I do get in there and compete against the greatest comeback in combat sports history. Connor keeps calling it. And I believe I finish him within the first 2 rounds, and then we sip some tequila after.
There you go. But I do want to be clear on one thing, because people will pick words apart. When you say you are willing to fight at 300, but we've established that Kavanaugh said his guy might return in July or whatever. Did you mean you would fight someone else at 300 if given the opportunity, or are you solely focused on McGregor?
I'm solely focused on McGregor. I was merely saying that I believe it's smoke and mirrors, and I don't think they have any intention on waiting till July. But yeah, I mean, I've been asked numerous times, hey, what's the hard date that you say, hey, when I get to this date, I'm calling up Hunter, I'm calling up Dana, and I'm going to say, hey, okay, screw Connor, I want to fight somebody else. I don't have that date in mind. We're going to get to the end of the year. I'm going to enjoy a beautiful Christmas with my family here in Nashville, Tennessee, which I don't always get to do in this beautiful thing we call the fight game. And once the first of the year hits, we're really going to start, putting rubber to the road and trying to figure this thing out. And well, hopefully we get an announcement that first month or so of 2024.
Michael, is this going to feel any different? Because you've had huge fights in your career, belts, accomplishments. But will this one have a different taste, a different feeling because of who he is and because of maybe a little bit of the weight as well?
Yeah, I mean, the weight is definitely going to add a little bit of fuel to the fire. I also been thinking about, like I said, I've done a lot of work on myself of who I am outside of just fighting, right? And I don't need to fight. I want to fight, right? I could lay the gloves down right now, and we're talking about hiatus, and we're talking about these other companies, we're talking about investments, we're talking about the business mind and the business relationships that I have. I don't have to fight. I want to fight. I enjoy fighting. So once you get to the point and you cross over to where you don't have to do something anymore to live, but you want to do it, you want the biggest fights possible, man. You guys were my first big interview back in Mandalay Bay or whatever it was. And Randall Allman said, hey, man, my manager said, you guys got to get this guy on, right? And ever since then, that's why we get into the sport. We want the biggest fights possible under the brightest lights against the biggest name opponents. And that's who Connor is. And that's what this fight means to me. That's why I am not changing course or changing direction, because I'm fighting Connor and he's fighting me. He has to go through me to come back to the UFC. So, I'm excited about it. I still believe it's going to happen. I'm 100% positive that it's going to happen, barring any kind of crazy circumstances in this fight or in the future. Man, I just want battlegrounds of epic proportions, and it doesn't get any bigger than me versus Connor.
It's always great catching up with you, Michael. Hope to see you soon in Vegas. And thanks for the time today.
Heck yeah, man. Thank you guys. Yeah, holler at me when I'm in Vegas that week. I'll come by the studio.
Okay,
Nice.
sounds great.
We might even sip some tequila. I don't know.
Oh, definitely. I know I am.